So it's been a bit of a while since I recorded. I kind of hope I remember how. Just let me just double check. I mean, the NBA playoffs have been going on, but I'm assuming nothing mad has happened. Oh shit! So a little bit of an apology to begin with for not uploading over the past few weeks. Uni assignments kind of messed me up, and then when I finally handed them all in, I kind of just dissociated myself from life and kind of just didn't do anything. But we're back, and a lot has been going on since I've been gone. I haven't made a video talking about current NBA since the play-in, and let's be honest with you, it's been a bit of a mental playoff so far, one that not anyone was expecting, a history-making playoffs, you could say. I'll be talking a little bit about my opinions on the conference semi-finals. I'll talk a little bit about the first round, but not too much because it's not as relevant anymore. So the Miami Heat were 3 minutes away from getting knocked out completely of playoff contention when they were playing against the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls absolutely choked that playing game, and now Miami are a game away from becoming the second ever 8th seed to reach the conference finals after the 1999 New York Knicks, and that was during the lockout season as well, so a load of less games were being played. So this is probably the first real 82 game season where the 8th seed has kind of shocked everybody and got to the conference finals. I mean, it's not done yet, but let's be honest, this Miami team has been absolutely schooling the New York Knicks through 4 games so far. We need a little bit of conversation about Jimmy Butler, and that's probably the main thing coming out of this playoff run. Jimmy Butler is unbelievable when it comes to the playoffs. I mean, the Miami Heat are too. Eric Spoelstra, I keep saying, Eric Spoelstra has drilled this team to the point where no matter where they finish in the regular season, as long as they qualify for the playoffs, you've got to look at them as a potential dark horse / favourite to get a little bit far, because this Miami Heat team, no matter who's on it, have a coach that knows how to do it in the playoffs. And Eric Spoelstra, he's done it again. Jimmy Butler, he's doing it again. This guy's averaging 35.5 points per game pretty much through the 8 playoff games he's played. The only game that Miami lost against New York was when Jimmy Butler wasn't even playing, and even then, Julius Randle still had to put up 28, 25, 12 and 8. Jalen Brunson's still doing the business. This Miami team, and more specifically Jimmy Butler, is something to be, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. And this is without a load of proper help on the offensive end as well for Jimmy. Tyler Hero's only played 1 game this playoff run and probably won't play again because of the broken hand. Victor Oladipo, he's probably not going to play again for the rest of this season. Bam Adebayo, he's chipping in, but they're relying on a lot of the role players that weren't really looked at as proper game changers. Kevin Love has been playing a lot more starting minutes recently. He's started 7 of the 9 playoff games he's played, through no fault of his own because of injury. And this guy's coming in, he's throwing outlet passes like he's a quarterback. Kevin Love, he's got the championship DNA, and he might be bringing it back to Miami. Kyle Lowry, he's not the guy we used to see, but we know that he can still put up good numbers. Gabe Vincent and Max Strus chipping in with averaging around about 10 points per game over this playoff run. This Miami team, on paper, isn't amazing, and even when it comes to practice, Bam Adebayo is very suspect and very culprit of not showing up properly in playoff games when it comes to shooting the ball. So nobody really is expecting this Miami team to do well, but they absolutely destroyed Milwaukee and Giannis, beating them in 5, and they're probably going to do the same to New York too. Granted, the next game is in New York, so there could be a potential game 6, because I don't think New York are going to be wanting to be sent home in Madison Square Garden for the second playoff run in a row after Atlanta did it to them 2 years ago. Especially given that, this is a New York team that wasn't really expecting to do well, but we'll see this loss against Miami as a massive missed opportunity. I bet when New York were looking at the Miami-Milwaukee series, they were thinking, we're probably not going to get to the conference finals because Milwaukee are going to absolutely steamroll us, but once Miami actually beat Milwaukee, maybe a lot of New York fans were thinking, maybe this is our year. For the first time in God knows how long, we could actually make a proper playoff run. And getting to the conference semis is a very good achievement for them. The first time they've done it in quite a while. But, when you're coming up against the 8th seed, that has just shocked the number 1 seed, you got to be thinking this is our time to make a deep run, maybe even challenge to potentially win the East. You know, whoever comes out of the Boston 76ers series, you could potentially match New York up against them if they can beat, you know, if they've beaten the likes of Cleveland and Miami. You'd probably not give it to them, but you'd give them a little bit more of a chance than you would do a few weeks ago. So New York, is this a bit of a missed opportunity? Who knows? You know, this was obviously a very good chance. Jalen Brunson is proving that he is an all-star. If he puts up these kind of numbers next year and doesn't get in the all-star game, I'm not too sure, you know, what's going on over there. You know, he didn't get in it this year for some reason. He definitely should be in it next year if he puts up similar numbers. You know, in the playoffs, this guy seems to turn up. You know, he did it for the Dallas Mavericks last year, which is what got him this massive contract in New York, and he's paying it back. He's the team's main guy. Julius Randle is not the team's main guy. He's shooting 38% in the playoffs so far. You know, Julius Randle, we were thinking this was your time, man. He finally had another good regular season, but it's come to the playoffs again. And you know how some people flip the switch and they get onto it. Julius Randle's kind of like the opposite of that one. So it looks like Miami are actually gonna, you know, become the first 8th seed since that 1999 New York team to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now the question is, can they do what the 99 team did and actually get to the NBA Finals? The fact is, it's going to be a very interesting Eastern Conference Finals no matter who they get matched up with, because this Boston 76ers games, I'm not going to lie, have shocked me a little bit. You know, this one is definitely going to go to at least 6 games, and my predictions beforehand was definitely not anything to do with that. When Joel Embiid came out and said he's playing through an injury that should be probably taking him out for up to 6 weeks, I was thinking this is either a sweep or a gentleman's 5. You know, there was no doubt about it. You know, I feel like without Embiid, the Sixers often don't really, you know, play that well. You know, James Harden often, you know, has the odd game where he'll pull through, but most of the time is a bit poor. Tyrese Maxey usually isn't great because Embiid obviously attracts a lot of players to him, gives the likes of Maxey and Harris open looks. So without Embiid, and even with Embiid but not 100% Embiid, I was thinking this is Boston's series to lose, really. And let's be honest with you, it's looking like they might actually not blow it, but it's taken them a lot longer to put the 76ers down than a lot of neutral NBA fans like myself, and probably a lot of Boston fans, and probably a lot of 76ers fans, if I'm honest with you, were expecting. But I think a lot of people have kind of forgotten how good James Harden can be. And the reason that his numbers have been down a lot is because he's playing with Joel Embiid, you know, the leading scorer in the NBA. Obviously, James Harden's not going to be averaging 36 like he did those seasons in Houston. But when it's just him as the main, you know, as the main guy making his own shots, creating for himself, James Harden's very, very dangerous. 45 points in Game 1, 42 points in Game 4. The 2 wins from the Philadelphia 76ers have been led by James Harden. You know, yes, Joel Embiid was, you know, a part of that Game 4 win, but the guy who was leading the scoring is the beard. And James Harden is it's a very, very interesting one because, yes, he dropped 40 bombs in Game 1 and Game 4, but Game 2 and Game 3, the guy was anonymous. You know, when he's hot, James Harden, unstoppable player, but he's either hot or he's shooting 1 for 10. There is no in between. There is no consistency with this guy's game at the moment. You know, it's very tough to kind of predict how this one's going to go because it really does just depend on who shows up outside of Joel Embiid, and really Jaylen Brown is the only, you know, they're the only 2 real consistent performers in my opinion. You know, Jason Tatum's had a few games where he's been slow to start, like last night, but he did end up picking it up. Game 2, he shot 1 for 7, and the Boston Celtics still won. You know, they absolutely blew Philly out, so Tatum only played like 19 minutes in that one. But I've always said that when it comes to consistency, I'd rather have Jaylen Brown over Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum can drop 50 whenever he wants. He'll have more games where he blows up, but with that, there's a few games where he has, you know, poor shooting nights. And Boston can't really afford to have poor shooting nights against a team who are as good at scoring as the 76ers can be. Similarly with the 76ers, you know, if Harden doesn't show up, or if Maxey doesn't show up, who Tyrese Maxey hasn't had the best series against the Celtics so far. If they don't show up, then it's a little bit harder for the 76ers to actually win. So it's probably the one that kind of like is the hardest to predict how it's going to go. You know, I think if Boston had have won, made it 3-1, they'd have probably finished them off in 5. However, now it's 2-2. The Sixers coming off of that big game winning overtime win in game 4. They'll have a little bit of hope, you know, a little bit of belief that they could maybe snatch this one in Boston and then finish it off in 6 in Philly. I think whoever wins Game 5 is probably going to win Game 6, but it all depends on who can show up outside of the consistent performers. Let's just say if James Harden's allowed to go to LA like he was before Game 4, I'm not going to lie, I'm back in the Sixers. But let's be honest, it probably should be Boston, and I think if Boston don't end up getting through to the conference finals, it's probably going to be a disappointing season for them. You know, they've regressed after last year. They really should be getting to the finals now that Milwaukee is out of the competition. So, you know, I think Boston, they've got to focus a little bit more. It's not as easy as what they expect, and which is usually the case when they play against the Sixers in the playoffs. So I think whoever wins that Game 5, they've got to lock in. I think whoever wins that Game 5 is probably going to win Game 6. And you talk about historic playoff runs with Miami. You know, it's 1 in a million chance you got to think of a 8th seed getting through to the Eastern Conference Finals if they manage to get it. But lightning is striking twice in the same season because it's happening over in the West as well. The Los Angeles Lakers are 3-1 up over the Golden State Warriors, and let's be honest, this has been a very entertaining playoff series. We knew it was going to be. You know, when LeBron and Steph face off in the playoffs, you know it's going to be fireworks going off everywhere. Klay Thompson said after they knocked out the Kings that it was going to be an interesting one between the two sides. You know, the first time that they've played in the playoffs in a very long time. This is what Klay Thompson said. You know, this is what he's looking forward to, and he's not really pulling through at all. Game 4. What a game that was, by the way. A 3-point win for the Lakers, which gives them that all-important 3-1 lead. And the likelihood that the Warriors are going to be chopping that down, I'm not going to lie, is pretty slim. And therefore, the Lakers are looking to become the first 7th seed to head through to the conference finals since 1987. 1987. That's almost 40 years since a 7th seed made it to the Western Conference to a conference finals. They've never made it to the NBA finals. Could this Lakers team become the first team to do that? I'm not gonna lie, I think it could happen. You know, the trades that these guys made at the deadline has completely rejuvenated the side. You know, getting rid of Russell Westbrook, bringing in the likes of Jared Vanderbilt, D'Angelo Russell, who, you know, for his flaws, can pull through and give you 1 or 2 games a series where he'll drop 20 points like he did in Game 3. You know, the other role players around AD and LeBron, like Lonnie Walker, pulling through as well. He got 14 points in the 4th quarter last night. Steph Curry dropped a 30-point triple-double last night, and let's be honest, everyone else kind of sold. Curry kind of sold as well with that turnover after the jump ball. He could have just called a timeout. So Curry kind of sold as well, but Draymond Green giving the ball away there. Jordan Poole hasn't hit a 3-pointer since Game 1 of the series. We're now heading into Game 5. You know, he got 10 minutes off the bench last night. Got no points. Klay Thompson only got 9 points last night. It's looking very, very much likely that the Golden State Warriors dynasty is kind of wearing away. You know, teams are kind of being able to turn them over a little bit. You know, we saw it with the Kings series. You know, the Kings took them to 7 in the Kings' first playoff series since 2006. So this Warriors team's a little bit fragile, and the Lakers are absolutely ruthless. When you look at LeBron James in a playoff run, this man is unbelievable when it comes to, like, kind of getting your foot down, putting your head down, and just running over teams. And a healthy AD is helping him so much. I've always said that when AD is healthy, this Lakers team could beat anyone, because AD is that valuable to this team. You know, he was healthy throughout the whole of the 2020 playoff run, and they won the chip. In 2021, when they were the 7th seed, came up against Phoenix in the first round, they had them on the ropes until AD got injured. So as long as AD can stay healthy, they can have that double pivot with LeBron and AD, and then just have the solid players around them, this Lakers team could be a dark horse for actually winning the chip this year. And I'm not even sure if that's a hot take anymore. This Lakers team is very, very solid, and it's looking likely that they're going to be heading through to the conference finals. Who they're going to face, who knows? Because yes, the Lakers and the Warriors have been a very entertaining series, but I'm not going to lie, I think the Nuggets and the Suns absolutely top that, because this has been so back and forth. After it went 2-0 to the Nuggets, and CP3, Chris Paul, came out and was like, I'm injured, I'm not going to be playing Game 2, Game 3, Game 4, and Game 5. I might be available for Game 6. When that happened and the Nuggets went up 2-0, I was like, this is going to be a sweep. But I completely forgot that Devin Booker is probably one of the best player performers or clutch performers in the NBA. It's been a while since I've actually had to properly, respect it, but back in 2020, with the bubble run, where they won 7 straight and only just missed out the playoffs, the NBA Finals run in 2021, yes, they kind of messed it up last year, but this year they're not lying down. Devin Booker is that guy. When Kevin Durant is on your team, dropping 39 points and 36 points in games 3 and 4, and yet that's not what people are talking about, you know that you're the guy on that team. Devin Booker has seen Kevin Durant come in and gone, yeah, you're KD, you're arguably a top 10 player all time, but this is my team. This is my team, and I'm the person who's going to lead this team through to a playoff run. And let's be honest, the Nuggets are a little bit shaky, but let's be honest, it's not something that they should really be worrying about. They won their 2 games at home, they still have home court advantage, and the 2 losses were still pretty tough games. They were really tight, contested games, and the only reason that the Suns won really was because KD and Devin combined for like 80 plus in both games, and then in game 4 Landry Shamet came through with a 19-point game. The Suns need their role players to step up, and I think if you're a Nuggets player or a Nuggets fan, you're not really worrying about it too much, because there is a high likelihood that for 2 of the 3 games remaining in this series, it's probably just going to be Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. And if you can contain them a little bit better than you had done in games 3 and 4, especially in front of your home crowd, you should be fine. I still think the Nuggets should probably win this one. When Chris Paul comes back, will that make the Suns better or worse, is the question that a lot of people have been asking. When Chris Paul comes back, he's obviously going to be the main ball handler, but Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are 2 of the best in the league at making their own shots just off the dribble. Devin Booker, 20 of 25 up from the field in Game 3 is absolutely mental. It's completely bonkers. So when Chris Paul comes back, will Devin Booker, he's obviously going to be the off guard. Will he still produce as well as he had done in Games 3 and 4? That's a question that needs to be answered, and is it a good thing maybe that Chris Paul doesn't play for the rest of the series, because will that give him a better chance of actually beating the Nuggets? It's an interesting one, and I'd like to know what you guys think about it, so let me know in the comments. But with this series, I can see it going 7. I can see Denver winning in Denver. I can see Phoenix winning again in Phoenix. And then it's all about what happens in Game 7. Now, when it comes to Game 7s, the Nuggets are pretty good at winning. We saw in 2020, they came back and they came back from 3-1 down plenty of times and won Game 7s. But on the flip side, like I said, Kevin Durant is a monster when it comes to clutch performances. So is Devin Booker. So it really is up in the air as to who will face more likely the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. If it's the Nuggets, and if the Celtics manage to beat the Sixers, don't you think it's mental that the 2020 Conference Finals, so the Bubble Conference Finals, will be repeated 3 years later? 2 pivotal Game 5s between the Suns and the Nuggets and the Celtics and the 76ers coming up tonight. So hopefully I'll be able to get this video out before the games, hopefully. But let me know what you guys think about the whole semi-final situation. Isn't it mental that, we're having 2 history-setting runs, in the 8th seed and the 7th seed, in the Miami Heat and the Los Angeles Lakers? But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you're leaving a like on the video. This is just me kind of rambling on, because it's been a few weeks So I feel like I've needed like an NBA ramble. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about the whole playoff run between all of the series, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.